So, there was this house where me, my partner, and my daughter moved in just before my son was born. At first, everything seemed normal, but after a few months, we started noticing some weird stuff. My sister, for instance, refused to use the master bathroom because it gave her the creeps. It was kind of funny to me, but she was dead serious about something feeling off about that part of the house. Then there were the smoke alarms. They would go off in the middle of the night for no reason, even after we changed the batteries and got a new detector. Once, we even took it off the wall and it still beeped, right from the empty socket. It eventually stopped, but it was pretty strange. Another time, me and my sisters were chilling in the living room when the kitchen light suddenly turned on by itself. It wasn't just a flicker. The switch flipped up, and I had to turn it off manually. This happened a lot, and it was the only light in the house that acted that way. Luckily, it wasn't the bedroom light scaring us in the middle of the night. But the scariest thing was when I had a dream about seeing a bright light outside the bedroom window and a tall gray alien coming out of the closet. I woke up terrified, only to find out that my boyfriend had seen the same light. It was too much for me to handle. So yeah, that house definitely gave us some spooky experiences that we won't forget anytime soon. When my family and I first moved into our new house, I was full of excitement. The room seemed spacious, and the windows let in plenty of sunlight. But soon, things took a strange turn. It all started at night. As I lay in bed, trying to drift off to sleep, I heard soft whispers drifting from the walls. It was as if the house itself was speaking, sharing secrets in the darkness. At first, I brushed it off as my imagination playing tricks on me. After all, moving to a new place can be unsettling. However, the whispers didn't stop. In fact, they grew louder and more distinct with each passing night. It was like they were trying to tell me something important that I couldn't quite grasp. The whispers filled me with a sense of unease. I found myself lying awake, straining to make out the words, but they remained elusive, just beyond my understanding. It felt like there was a hidden world within the walls, a world that I wasn't meant to know about. As the nights wore on, sleep became elusive. The whispers seemed to follow me wherever I went in the house, echoing through the halls and around corners. They haunted my dreams, leaving me restless and unsettled. I couldn't shake the feeling that something eerie lurked within our home's very walls, something waiting to reveal itself when the time was right. My husband and I had always dreamt of moving out of the city and into a peaceful suburban neighborhood. After years of saving and planning, we finally found our dream house in a small town in Wisconsin. The house was a beautiful Victorian-style home with a white picket fence and a lush green lawn. It seemed like the perfect place to start a family. We were overjoyed as we unpacked our belongings and settled into our new home. However, as the days went by, we started to notice strange occurrences. It started with small things like misplaced items and flickering lights, but soon progressed into something much more terrifying. One night, we were woken up by loud, unexplainable noises coming from the basement. My husband, being the brave one, went to investigate, but found nothing out of the ordinary. We shrugged it off as the old pipes making noises and tried to get back to sleep. However, the next night, the same noises repeated, but this time, we heard a faint whisper coming from the darkness of the basement. It sent shivers down our spines, and we both knew something was not right in our new home. As the days went by, the occurrences became more frequent and more sinister. We would hear footsteps in the hallway when no one else was home, and the temperature in the house would drop dramatically, even on the warmest of days. My husband even started to have vivid nightmares of a dark figure standing at the foot of our bed. We couldn't deny it any longer. Our house was haunted. We tried contacting the previous owners to see if they had experienced anything similar, but they denied any knowledge of a haunting. We were on our own. Determined to get to the bottom of things, we did some research and found out that our house was built on an old Native American burial ground, It all started to make sense. We were living in a house built on top of restless spirits. We tried everything to get rid of the spirits, from sage cleansings to calling in a priest for an exorcism, but nothing seemed to work. In fact, it only seemed to make things worse. The spirits were angry, and they were not going to let us live in peace. One night, while we were sitting in the living room, we heard a blood-curdling scream coming from the basement. We mustered up our courage and went to investigate. As we descended the stairs, we saw the dark figure that had been haunting my husband's dreams. It was a Native American woman, her face contorted in anger. She pointed at us and let out another bone-chilling scream. We turned and ran back up the stairs, locking the basement door behind us. We knew we had to leave. Our dream home had turned into a nightmare, and we could no longer stay. We packed our bags and left that very night, leaving the house and all our belongings behind. We never looked back. It's been years since that terrifying experience, but the memories still haunt us. We often wonder if the new owners have also encountered the same horrors that we did. We learned the hard way that sometimes the past can never truly be left behind. My family and I had recently moved into a beautiful 2-story house in the suburbs of Maryland. We were thrilled to start this new chapter in our lives and couldn't wait to make new memories in our new home. We settled in quickly and everything seemed perfect, until one day I noticed a strange door in the corner of our basement. I had never seen it before and curiosity got the best of me. I asked my husband about it, and he explained that it was just an old storage room and we shouldn't worry about it. But something about that door didn't sit right with me. It felt like it was calling out to me, begging to be opened. One day, when my husband was at work and my kids were at school, I couldn't resist the urge anymore. I quietly crept down to the basement and opened the door. What I saw on the other side was beyond my worst nightmares. The room was dark and damp, with a musty smell that hit me as soon as I stepped in. But what caught my attention the most was the strange symbols and drawings covering the walls. Feeling uneasy, I quickly closed the door and tried to forget about it. But as days went by, peculiar things started happening in our home. We would hear strange noises coming from the basement at night and often felt like we were being watched. One night, my daughter came running into our room, shaking and crying. She claimed to have seen a ghostly figure in the basement. We dismissed it as an overactive imagination, but deep down, we were all scared. Things continued to escalate as we experienced doors slamming shut on their own, objects moving without explanation, and even finding our basement door open in the mornings when we were sure we had locked it the night before. My husband and I decided to investigate the basement and figure out the source of these strange occurrences. We discovered that the room behind the door was used for some kind of ritual by the previous owner. We also found disturbing diary entries detailing their belief in the supernatural and their attempts to summon spirits. Terrified, we called a paranormal expert who confirmed our suspicions. The previous owner had dabbled in dark magic and disturbed the spirits residing in our home. We were advised to cleanse the basement and offer prayers for the spirits to move on. With the help of the expert, we performed a cleansing ritual and offered our sincerest apologies to the spirits. Slowly, the occurrences in our home stopped, and the atmosphere felt lighter. It was a difficult experience, but it brought our family closer together. We learned to never ignore our intuition and to always be cautious of the history of a new home. From then on, we lived in peace and learned to appreciate our home even more. As for the basement, we never opened that door again,